Welcome to the School of Hard Knockdowns, is what I would say if the doors were open to you, but they're not yet at least. First, we'll need to see your commitment to improvement before I take my time teaching you. You're going to be taking this little questionnaire of mine, and if you skip this or fail the test, you may not be fit to play fighting games. When I say scrub, I inquire about your mentality, not your skill level. Enough of this chit chat, let's get to the questions. Question 1. Do you call strategies or characters that you don't like cheat? Scrubs really think that they're playing to win, but they're really not. In fact, they're not even playing the same game as everyone else. They're playing some game with made up rules. The scrub has a lot of self-imposed mental rules that prevent them from improving. The most common one being that viable strategies that lead to victory are cheap. If you throw them 5 times in a row, cheap. Block everything, cheap. Spam projectiles? Cheap. Each of these issues are easily dealt with, yet the scrub deems them cheap due to his own incompetence. How are you so bad that you can't deal with one move? And while they're complaining, the actual good players are finding solutions to the problems. Could you imagine what would happen if they were put together? The scrub would get destroyed because he's never been forced to play the actual game. Question 2. Do you say someone has no skill because their playstyle isn't unique? You don't win prizes for being unique. You win prizes for being better. Scrubs talk a great deal about skill, but know absolutely nothing about it. They'll acknowledge combos and difficult inputs as skill, but actually using a viable strategy to win? No skill. Do you play with honor? This might as well be the scrub's catchphrase. Imagine being a loser and trying to take some moral high ground to feel better about yourself. It's just a pathetic attempt to remain a winner in their head after losing. Do you belittle the players that you lose to? Disregarding someone's win because you didn't like the way they played is some of the most pathetic behavior. You complain about simple repetitive techniques, but think for a second. What does that say about you? This is very counterproductive to improving. That better player can help you, but you choose to belittle them instead of admitting that they're better. If they aren't better, they shouldn't be winning. Do you give up before a match even starts? Self-explanatory. Focus on the game at hand, not outside factors. Do you call a game that you're not good at dumb, random, or boring? To be fair, some games are, but when people say this, it's usually about games that they're not good at, because if it was really true, they would just quit the game. It's just another excuse to shift the blame when they can't win. The dumb game may just be beyond their understanding. Most games aren't too random. Even games like card games and poker have the same winners. The too boring one is just an easy cop-out. If this is how you legitimately feel about a video game, get off of it. Are you a fan of patch culture? By that I mean, do you wait for games to be patched instead of figuring out how to adapt in the current meta? Patch culture makes trying your best much less rewarding when your game-winning tactics will just be patched. You could potentially even be at risk of getting banned if you find some way to play a game within its rules that wasn't intended by the developer. And the final question, how do you carry yourself when you lose? I assume you're gonna say you're a good sport, but I don't believe you.
Don't touch grass. You're a virgin. You have no life.
That's probably you when you lose. You're throwing away your opportunity to learn for an ego boost. Sad. Do that in a real tournament and see what happens. People who really want to improve don't have time for such childish attitudes. If you even got 1 point, congratulations, you're a scrub. Maybe not as much as others who got more points, but you're still a scrub. You won't survive fighting games for too long if you stay that way. If you want to improve, you better get all that nonsense out of your head before you proceed with my tutorial.